Well, it's a beautiful February day in the green swamp, about 11 in the morning, 68 degrees or so. Uh, so I decided to bring a dulcimer out and play some tunes. Today I'm going to talk about a dulcimer I built called the Purple Rose, so called because of the purple rose on her back. When the pandemic started, I started building instruments from kits. My wife bought me a mandolin kit and a dulcimer kit. And then I kept going, but I started designing them myself, ordering the wood online. And as time went on, I started working in more and more of wood that I harvested myself. So about 10 or 11 instruments in, I set a goal that I was going to build a dulcimer comprised entirely of wood that I milled myself. Now, almost all of the wood in this dulcimer came from the swamp property here, so I call it my swamp dulcimer. The soundboard here is made out of spalted holly, and in fact, the tree that came from is just 50 feet or so from here. I'll take you over there and show you. So the holly tree that I got the soundboard from is over here. Came down, half of it came down in a storm one time. Here's the half that's still there. The other half was about the same size, so I cut that into logs. And then I bring the logs over here, where I've got this little shelter set up. Store the logs in here for a couple of years until they equilibrate. Then I've got this doodad here that I use to cut the wood into slabs. And at that point, I take it home. So I started with the soundboard. I cut a thick slab of holly from a log from the tree that I showed you a couple seconds ago. Took that slab home and resawed it and got two book match slabs, which I then flattened individually with a router sled that I have. The wood was very fragile, and a few actually, natural holes opened up as I was flattening them. I saw that as an opportunity to have natural sound holes in the instrument. However, they were very unstable, so I filled all the wormholes with epoxy that was tinted purple, and then I coated the entire soundboard with a clear epoxy to stabilize it. I made the sides from a maple log from a tree that came down in the front of the swamp property. I put a flat on it with my router, and then I used a circular saw to cut it into strips. Once I had these strips, I flattened them with my router sled, and then I squared off the edges with my router too. At this point, I went ahead and assembled the sides. The back is the only wood on the instrument that isn't from the swamp property. It's from an oak tree that came down in a neighbor's yard a few years back. She let me take a few logs before the tree service hauled the rest away, and here I'm making the back from one of those. The fretboard was from an oak branch that came down in the swamp. I flattened that with my router sled and then added the frets and the fret markers. The pegboard was made from holly and maple that was left over from the wood that I used to make the soundboard and the sides. So at this point I had all the pieces I needed. It was just a matter of assembling them and then eventually finishing it. Here are some pictures of the finished instrument. The second picture here shows the detail in the wood. I think it's a really cool spalted holly soundboard. This third picture shows the back of the instrument. When I was flattening it, there was a weak spot that punched through, so I went ahead and carved it into the shape of a rose and then filled it with purple tinted epoxy, hence the name of the instrument, the Purple Rose. So that's the story of Purple Rose. I'll play a couple of songs on her now. I think these two songs go together very nicely. Let me get set up.